Welcome to the Produce Industry Podcast, your weekly download on current events, trends, market reports, and community discussions. Join us each week from Tampa, Florida, as we cover all aspects of the produce supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, my boy, the voice of the produce industry, Patrick Kelly.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, also known as Lil Citrus, coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, here at the Aglife Media Studios. Super excited to be coming to you live for the first official live stream in studio with our first live stream guest. Now, if you've been following the show, you have seen us doing some recordings in the studio, but they've still been via restream until today. That's right. Actually, all this week during Southern Exposure Week, we have upped our game. We have brought supply chain experts in the produce industry here to the studio, and we've been able to have some really cool conversations from starting off, obviously, the show of the week, Monday, with my co-host, Juanita Gallio. We gave a little bit of a teaser yesterday. We posted a video of Suhanra Conradi of Summer Citrus from South Africa. And then also later in the afternoon, we had Noble Citrus. We had Quentin and Adam Rowe here in studio. And then now our next guest for today, who is no stranger to the show. And actually, today actually is our Fresh from the Field Fridays episode, because we are going to be at Southern Exposure in Orlando, Florida in just a few hours. We are literally going to finish this recording with you here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and even on Rumble now. And then we're going to head up. So Fresh from the Field Fridays is brought to you by Buck Naked Onions, but also Oahe Produce and their mint oil. Have you heard about the Oahe mint oil? Why don't you check it out on Oahe Produce's website, look up their mint oil, and show you and see. I want you to see how growers, packers, shippers are not just selling a piece of produce, they're selling a little bit more. And then also Jack Vandenberg, the snack with impact. That is sun rays, everyone. So we appreciate our sponsors to the show, as always. And I think that it's always great to see and hear from dynamite people in the produce and supply chain industry. So everyone, again, as we get started today, we are going to bring on Ross, the produce boss, Nelson from Fresh Edge here locally in Tampa before we head up to Orlando. We're talking about a few items that we're looking forward to for this Fresh from the Field Fridays. But then we're also going to talk a little bit about SEPC, Southern Exposure, and what you can expect from that conference just in, like I said, just a couple of days. So really excited. And really excited just to have Ross on the show with me today. So let's go ahead and bring Ross in. Ross.
What's going on, Patrick?
Ross, my man.
Hey, Patrick. How's it going, man?
It's going great. You know, I'm still trying to figure out how to use all the equipment here, as you can tell, right?
Trying to be a host, producer, editor, jack of all trades.
You know how hard, like seriously, you know how hard it is?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it is legitimately a lot. Like, see, I'm still trying to figure out. I got to figure out where my camera goes, and it's kind of cool though, right? Like, this is like, it's in the making.
It's continual improvement.
I always can we give a round of applause, for at least us trying, right? I mean, we tried.
Hey, we're here, we're giving an effort, and we're having fun. So that's what it's all about.
So we kind of let's start off the week, man. So it's SEPC week. I say we because we normally hang out at this show together. It's a cool show. We got a lot of people that are traveling in today, tomorrow, and we have education, we have dinners, the reception, the networking. This year's theme is produce means family.
Yes.
Right? Ohana means family. So I'm looking forward to that. Glad to have you in the studio, man. Like, you've been to the other studio how many times?
A few times. It's nice to be here and check out the new place that you're at. It's pretty nice.
Completely different.
Completely different. Nice area around here to go and explore, walk around, check it all out. So, we had a lot of fun. So coming into Tampa, it was a nice getaway from the Indianapolis weather for a few days. So
the freezing cold.
Yeah, it's gotten better. But it's definitely nice, missing the family, but here with my other industry family for the next few days. So good, looking forward to seeing a lot of people, have a fair amount of meetings set up, and it's been a lot of conversation this week around everything that's happening in the industry. So
yeah, SEPC is it's a great show. I say this every time I talk to people. Why is it a great show? I think that a lot of it has to do with really the family orientation of it, right? The networking. I think it's very it's very personal, right? And I think that a lot of people that are here, I just got a call this morning, and they were like, "Yeah, I last minute decided to come up to SCPC. Don't have a pass. I got to go buy a pass." And they're like, "But I'm going to call my buddy this. I'm going to see what they're doing. I'm going to call this guy. I'm going to call this." You know what I mean? And it's like, "Oh yeah, tell them hi. I'll be there. I'll see them on Wednesday." Right. So that's what I think is pretty cool about it.
Yeah. And this show affords the opportunity to have more of that intimate setting, have the conversations. It's not a massive, 100%. It's not spread out over, blocks and blocks and blocks. There's, the main hotel and a few others, and everyone can kind of congregate in that area. And there's going to be plenty to do. So first time at this World of Marriott. I've never been there.
Oh, you never been?
Never been there. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. So, but I always appreciated, the Swan and Dolphin and what, when it was at that location, what it afforded, the ability to do, to go around. We're like across the street from Disney Springs. So I'm sure I'll have to go over and bring some stuff home from the family. They'll be like, "So what'd you bring us?"
What'd you bring us? What
kids are going to ask, like, "What did you bring us?"
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's always an option. Let's see some from the chat. We have Greg Santalo. Congratulations on the live. Very cool. And said, it sounds good. So he's saying we sound good. Yeah. Oh, hey. I just pulled a Fonz right now. Hey. I'm glad we sound good because this is all soundproof.
Yeah.
All this is. And I keep inviting people down here, so next, in 2 weeks, we've got JOH coming down from Boston. And obviously you kind of already heard the lineup of who we've had here. Yeah. So,
I saw a little bit of it yesterday. The biggest
it's been cool, man.
Group you had in the studio. So
yeah, it was. And again, it's funny, everyone, because Ross, and you can probably say it best now that you've been here. Pictures don't do justice. This is a small space still. It's a very small space, everyone. And that's one thing you got to realize is that when you see the pictures, you're like, man, this place looks big. Right? It does, right? It's like the perception of how I take the pictures. But when you get here, you're like, whoa, this is a small space. Yes, it is. It's still a small space. I still have a very small space, everyone. But look, it's a 7x7 room.
It's not about the space. It's about what you do with it.
It is. And even my wife said, she goes, "I can't believe like how you pulled this off." And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you can't believe it?" And like, I was like, you know what I mean? And she goes, "No, because when you told me I'm going to turn a walk-in closet into a podcast studio," I was like, okay, let's see how this works out, right? Because you don't think about it. But I had a vision. I had a vision, man. And Neil Galarte helped with that a lot. Chris Kermitzos and a few of the podcast guys. And so actually, I'll be going up to SCPC, but I come back on Saturday night. Neil's funeral's on Sunday. So I'm going to be at Neil's funeral, representing him and his family. So, but let's before we get into it anymore, one of the things I want to talk about, as we talk about Fresh from the Field Fridays, and every week I challenge you guys to make sure the show is good, because again, none of us are doing this for like monetary value. We're doing this for the love of the industry.
Yeah. Passion.
Again, like I always say, like our sponsors sponsor us for us to do this type of stuff, right? To make sure our voice is heard. It's not lining my pockets to go do whatever. Like someone told me the other day, you got a lot of nice toys. I said, right, but these toys are for you, right? They are. Because last time you recorded in my studio, it looked a lot different.
A lot different.
Now it's on.
And I mean, it's all about passion. I mean, for me, it was growing up around agriculture. I mean, I had tractors in my backyard all the time. We didn't farm it, but that was one of my first jobs, was actually working for the farmer part-time before I went into the, grocery business and got into the retail landscape, and, been in produce many, many years. And so I think seeing what happened and what farmers went through is, I kind of witnessed it from my bedroom window growing up, as, kind of what has helped bring me into the ag life of, what I'm doing. And then I just appreciate being able to get out and see the farmers and see the process, to explain to the consumers, help, spread the awareness, spread the message of why farmers do, why we were able to have what we have, and, how nimble the produce industry is, what we have to do, because it's, starting to die the minute it's picked. So we got to move it, enjoy it, eat it, and love it.
I mean, 100%. Look, we got another comment right there. You want to read that comment? That's from our buddy.
Oh yeah. Many to come.
Dan Weiss. And we invited Dan to dinner this week too, just so
he missed out on a fantastic meal last night.
But Dan, we'll tell you about it, buddy, when we do see you.
A lot of citrus in it.
We had so much citrus. And that's one thing that as we talk about Fresh from the Field Fridays. Last night, we did a dinner, and it was a great chef. Right, we had Chef Jeffrey Schlissel, and one thing we talked about on the dinner table. This was not like I always say, like, what we did last night was to show our clients, our customers, our vendors that how to use fruit and vegetables in your diet. Because that's one thing that happens all the time, is that we go to these restaurants and we'll spend $1,000. I've been to some dinners with you that I've been invited to, that we've had 8 to 10 people, and we've spent, not we, me and you, but they have spent $4,000 or $5,000 on a dinner that comes with like a little ribeye or a little like protein and like 3 pieces of asparagus. What Jeff did last night was take the Juicy Crunch tangerine, which we had the last like 40, 50 pounds, and incorporated every single dish from the Juicy Crunch tangerine ceviche, right? To the fish, the local fish that was seasoned, the candied Juicy Crunch, right?
Yeah.
Everything.
The dehydrated ones.
Like everything that was on there was used from this piece of fruit. And
the barbecue sauce, the ganache.
Oh gosh, the barbecue sauce.
It was incredible.
But everyone, like, this is what I was trying to say. Like, if we can show you how to use it, right, then you waste less of it. And one thing too, Ross, I was telling Renee the other day, is I want to start composting on my right side of my house. She's like, that's going to bring bugs. And I go, yeah, for my chameleons. Right. But I started thinking about it. I started looking at all the extra crap we throw away. And I was like, because there are, listen, let me go big screen on this for you guys. All right. So listen, like, we know that not every strawberry in that clamshell is going to be used. You want to know why? It's because sometimes we leave it in the fridge for an extra 20 minutes. Okay. And the reason I say that, Ross, is because is that it happens. So instead of me throwing that away, I'm going to make a compost hole outside, which will bring larva flies, which will then allow me to get flies, worms, all this different stuff from my chameleons that I have. Everyone, I have chameleons. Welcome to my life. If you have not followed me, shout out to my buddy, Jay Alley and Tara Murray, because they know about my chameleons, and Crystal, okay? And Uncle Si over at, Uncle Si at Fresh Innovations, am I right? Everybody knows Uncle Si. Uncle Si needs to get in this chair right here. But citrus is one thing it's hot on the map right now, right?
Yep.
So that'd be my number one pick for Fresh from the Field Fridays. If you're going to get it right now, California navels, tangerines, blood oranges, caracaras, pomelos, stock up on citrus right now, because now is the time to indulge.
Yeah, and you got golden nuggets, you got all sorts of different items coming out. So there's a lot happening on California citrus. But back to the dinner, I mean, there was a lot of conversation, and it was, we were talking about how do you get more consumption? What is the right answer?
That was a big question. That was a great topic at dinner.
It was. And I don't think there's one right answer. We're definitely seeing, fruit increase. We talked about that, but it's still in the veg category. And is there a different way of getting veg more interested? And, I think for me, I've got my daughter who loves vegetables, and she has a salad multiple times a week. I mean, shout out to Taylor Farms if you want to sponsor me. I'm there buying your salad bowls multiple times a week for her and her lunch.
I said the same thing with HelloFresh. Like a constant, hey, call me sometime, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going 2 times a week, stocking up on salad bowls because she's packing, with a dairy allergy.
I'm just saying.
I'd love to see, vegan cheese in there versus regular cheese. So, because I have to cut the cheese out.
Taylor Farms, you're saying?
Yep. In the salad bowls, have a vegan cheese option. So,
all right, Taylor Farms, if you're here at the SCPC show and you catch Ross, he wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
He wants to know about the vegan cheese option.
I have to cut the cheese out for her salad. And
you're making Ross cut the cheese, everyone. Every morning he's got to cut the cheese. Come on.
I cut it out.
Cut that cheese, baby. Couple more comments we got. Let's see here. We got, hello, friends. Buy mangoes from Mexico. Edgar, I appreciate you just throwing. There's always one where you used to be like Paul Manfred.
How are the tariffs going to work?
But check this out. So I love that you said that. So 3 comments down. You got Roberto said, Edgar, what's going on with the tariffs?
There's a lot unknown. I mean, it was a hot topic too. There's just so much unknown because some people are going at it in one direction, and some people are you adding it at the cost of goods, or are you adding as a line item?
We saw One Direction last year, just in case you. Okay, sorry.
But there's a lot of lack of information or lack of things known about the tariffs. So I think over the next 24 hours, we're going to be a lot smarter about tariffs.
Yeah, I agree. So, one more comment, then we're going to cut to a quick break. So our boy Max Cutler up in New York. You don't know this, but Max is 6'6", I think. He is. Have you met him before? I have not, but I asked him one time. I was because I saw a picture of on Facebook. I was like, dude, how tall are you? I know we're tall, right? But when you get someone that's 6'6", I can see the top of everybody's forehead, everybody's top of their head. When I can't see the top of your head, and I'm when they do pictures where the pictures are going up and the wife is very small, right? I'm this guy's bigger than we think. So 2 of the greatest marketers of our era right here. We're still looking for a Max. As soon as they show up, we'll let you know. 6'3", he says. He says he's 6. Oh, dude.
All right.
I mean, I'm 6'1", and I still feel 6'3", and being 6'1", at 6'1", you feel small to 6'3". You know what I mean?
It happens.
And he's a runner, too. He does a lot of running, too.
Yeah.
I follow him on Facebook. Is it weird, Max? You're listening right now. Is it weird that I send you pictures of me while I go running, even though I don't run, but I know you run? So I send him pictures when I go out running.
Which is once a year.
Which is once a year. And I'll send it to him. And then he'll send me a picture back of him running in the snow in the city. And I'm like, you win. I'm all right, man. You got it.
That's placing the Joker card in Uno.
Pretty much. All right, let's
pick up 4.
We'll be right back, everyone. Stay tuned. We're going to hear from one of our sponsors. What I love about this new commercial for our sponsors is it shows the depth of them in the industry.
Okay, let's check it out.
120 years ago, in Groningen, the Netherlands, a small produce business began, trading fresh local fruits. By the 1930s, the Vandenberg family moved to Rotterdam, Europe's burgeoning fruit hub. But when the 1940s brought turmoil, they fled to America, rebuilding their legacy in fresh produce. In 1958, Jack Vandenberg became a trailblazer, importing fresh Chilean fruit to the US, opening doors to global flavors. Today, that spirit of growth and innovation continues, with sustainable packaging, carbon footprint tracking, and the finest fruit varieties. We're redefining freshness for the future. Family, fresh, innovation, celebrating a legacy 120 years in the making. This is Jack Vandenberg.
In the heart of agribusiness, where innovation meets tradition, stands ZAG Technical Services. From managed IT to cybersecurity, cloud computing to consulting, network infrastructure to data and analytics, we've got you covered. Because we're not just service providers, but partners in your success. And our dedicated experts are here to help you leverage technology as your competitive advantage.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast, fresh from the field Fridays, live here in Tampa, Florida during Southeast Produce Council's Southern Exposure Week. And I'm super excited to be back with...
Come on, man.
You like that?
You just cut me off here.
No, I didn't cut you off. I just forgot to put it on. Say it again. Say it again.
Ross, the produce boss.
All right, we got Ross, the produce boss.
Yeah. We gave Dan, the produce man, the week off.
Yeah, we did, because you were here with me, you and me, and me.
And we're going to SCPC.
We are going to SCPC.
Which I'm looking forward to. It's going to be good, and a lot of folks I've already set meetings up with, and have meals. We're going to break bread, have some good conversation, and that's really what a lot of the industry is about. It's
100%
on relationships,
100%.
So.
And I need to teach you the right way of how to test an apple, like how to eat an apple. Someone told me one time, getting right into this, is that someone told me that you'd never slice an apple when you cut it. You have to bite into it. I learned from the Italians in Berlin that that's not true.
If you have, like my kids have braces, they can. So you have to cut it.
So remember me texting you? I was like, did you lick the apple? You're like, no. I'm like, did you smell the apple? I'm like, did you crisp it? Did you crunch it? You're like, no, what? There is a way. But right now, I'll tell you you went back to the citrus, right? The category and where to indulge in. Apples is another one. Apples go well with oranges. I mean, actually, everyone, in just an hour or so, you're going to see a video that I just did. It's my breakfast that I did this morning before I met up with you, is 4 simple produce items. Like, seriously, like I did strawberries, which again, you might yell at me and go, well, they weren't strawberries, Patrick. They were pine berries, right?
Those are good.
They were the pine berries.
Fresh from Florida.
Blueberries, pine berries. And then I did mandarin oranges, and then obviously I needed some protein, so I did the yoquero, avocado, and egg with crushed red pepper on a protein bagel. That was my breakfast this morning. It literally took me less than 3 to 4 minutes to put all that together. And then, as you see, I'm snacking on a yogurt right now, but lot better. It's a lot better than what I could be snacking on, right?
So I've had some mushrooms in the fridge for a few weeks, and over the weekend, we did some onions, peppers, and then put the mushrooms in there. And my wife's been using that with her eggs, each day for breakfast and stuff. So, you can prep ahead and make things easy and just add more stuff to
it. Real quick, Max Cutler wrote back, it's not at all weird, right? Because that's why I said it's weird. It's all love, and your jujitsu inspires me. All right, hey, at least someone I inspire somebody. And another comment, Greg Santala wrote back, Mexico fruit is higher today, much higher.
Well, I had someone reach out asking about avocados, and if you look at yesterday, there was no data to report because there's so many unknowns with how to price things. So
I think you're right. I think that's one of the one issue that we're having more and more is that trying to figure out where we're going to price things, how we're going to price it, who's going to take the role of the tariffs, and I think that's going to be a lot of conversation here at SCPC this week. Don't you think?
Yeah, and then there was also some talk about that ag is going to be in phase 2, which would be April 2nd start. So I mean, there's even unknowns, around did it officially start yesterday, and there's just so much lack of information to how to handle these, implement them, record them, all that kinds of stuff. So
I agree.
It's going to be a lot of learning over the next several days and figuring out, how we're going to do it.
I mean,
and it even varies from supplier to supplier how they're doing it. So.
I mean, I agree. I think that's one thing that we're going to have to look at is we're going to have to understand as a community how to deal with this. And again, if you're a customer out there, if you're a retail buyer, if you're a wholesaler, right? you can't just keep thinking to yourself, well, whatever's cheaper is going to work the best, because we've learned that in life. That's not what happens. We've all seen that from some of these mobile apps like Temu, right? Like you could order something that looks amazing on there, but because it's so cheap, you order it and you get it. Or my wife
or
said,
you don't get it.
Or you don't get it. But my wife said to me the other day, she goes, I bought a shed off Amazon because I just needed a small shed. And she's like, yeah, you shouldn't have bought this. And I was like, why? She's like, this reason, this reason, this reason. And, I was like, I didn't think about that because sheds are like expensive no matter which one you buy. And I bought one that was cheaper than the other one, right? Like, and I know, right? Let's say like $100. But she was like, this is why.
You're missing a bunch of stuff. Window,
no,
shelves.
I wasn't like missing it. It's just like quality, like a little bit of the difference in quality versus the other one. So I think that's something we have to also realize that, yes, there's going to be opportunity, Ross, for other companies to come into the supply chain that obviously maybe have been cheaper. So it'll offset the cost of the tariffs. But don't leave don't leave your vendor, your grower, your packer, your shipper. This is the time to partner with your people. Maybe have some programs on the side, right? Maybe keep some spot open. But this is the time, right? And I say that because you got to look at like oranges, for instance, from California. We've allowed a free trade market, right, Ross? You've seen this. We've allowed Mexico to come in. Remember, but there used to be a marketing order back in the days. There used to be a marketing order that says you cannot bring fruit in past this day. When Mexico starts, California still has to sell their crop. And, you can say administrations, but three administrations ago, they made it to where you were able to bring in Chile, Peru, then Argentina got Peru, Uruguay, right? All these different citruses during competitive seasons, not complementing, all competitive. So then it's come to a point where if we're not even able to sell fruit as a Californian, Ross. Like, think about it. Like me trying to sell to just say like a juicer. And they're like, oh, but we're buying from Mexico at 10 cents a pound. You're at 25 cents a pound. I'm like, well, no, duh. Like my labor is $20 an hour, right? And
your input costs are way different.
And then what do we have to do? We have to
cost everything.
We might have to put that to Kohl's.
Yeah.
Then we get pennies less than 10 cents a pound because our goal is to sell it as fresh, right? So there's a lot of things that could happen, but I also say like we need to protect the American farmer first. And then imports are supposed to complement, right? I have clients that are importers. Listen, I support them 100%, but we all need to complement because if not, then what happens? That dumbbell curve, right? Oversupply will happen. People will pull back and you'll lose the business because consumers won't want to do it. We can B2B it all day, Ross, right? But if the consumers aren't buying,
so it's going to go to waste.
We're just trading behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. But again, right now, apples, oranges, blueberries, right? Pine berries I just had there. There were 3 packages for $10, just at Publix. 3 for $10 on the pine berries.
That's a good deal.
Also, Publix, I love you. We need to talk about who your strawberry supplier this year is. My wife is pissed, okay? They normally have amazing Florida strawberries. Listen, I don't know what happened this year. Things happen, but my wife is like, you need to find strawberries from another company. And I'm like, Publix, you broke my heart.
It happens. It happens.
It happens.
Sometimes things change and it's not, one season just isn't as favorable as it should
right.
be.
And it shouldn't, I'm not saying like we need a new supplier at Publix. I'm just saying like something happened, whether it's the crop or not, because I only shop at Publix for my fresh produce. Ross, we want to go to Publix after this? I'll go grab one and we'll go talk to I know the produce manager at my Publix. I've already talked to him about it.
Dude, Strawberry Festival's going on right now. So, I mean,
they should be prime. Listen, I'm in strawberry.
It's Strawberry Festival. I heard you have never been there.
I've still never been.
You need to go.
I've still never been. I'm waiting for
Take the family, man.
Waiting for my invite.
You got
not from you.
Who do you need an invite from? Just get on the road and go. It's an hour away.
It's always conflicting with me. You want to know why?
SCPC.
I'm glad he asked. No, it's like the whole month. The problem is, I have 2 kids' birthdays. So SCPC is the first weekend, right? Danny's birthday or Lily's birthday party we're doing next weekend. Danny's birthday party the following week after that. Okay, so March is gone. Then the first week of April, I had to CP Montreal and CP and then back down to Houston. Well, I get home for a week.
Deanie would love to go to the Strawberry Festival for a birthday.
Done. No, we actually booked her at the jiu-jitsu mats. She's been dying.
There's rides. There's fair food. There's strawberry shortcake.
Ew. Listen,
I've been there.
What was the guy's name? Help me out. Our buddy over here in Lake. Remember we went and saw him, and we went to his shop.
Wisniewski?
No.
Gary from
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Was his name Gary?
Yep. Gary Johnson.
And what was his?
They're with Merck.
Merck. Yeah. Do you still do business with those guys?
We do some. Yeah.
I like that, dude. I see him all the time at shows. Super cool guy. Always comes up and
that
says
strawberry dessert at their shed was
the pizza, but wasn't it like a strawberry pizza or whatever they called
we had
it.
Shortcake and pizza.
Either way,
it was good.
Ross and I didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Like I thought they were just gonna have strawberries on pizza. No, it was like.
But when you go to the strawberry festival, like the whipped cream there is like made fresh from hand. Like it's good. So the biscuit, you can get a biscuit or I forget what the other option was, but man, you gotta go. Gotta go.
What else are you looking forward to? We got now this year. I don't know if you've noticed, but on the SEPC, we have been posting every Wednesday.
Okay.
And so you might have been seeing things like from the Power of Produce from
yeah.
Have you?
That's a good it's a good education segment. I think they extended the expo by an hour this year, so it's a little bit later. We got 2 education sessions Friday morning starting at 8:00. So it's going to be good.
Oh, I think it's going to be good because we're going to pull up the schedule right here real quick, and that's what we're going to go over real quick. Can you see the schedule on your page? Perfect.
You got to keep going down to where it is.
So let's talk about the agenda. Go ahead, Ross. Let's start with today's agenda for people who are not not coming.
It's a VIP dinner and board meetings, all of that's today. And then tomorrow you got the Tom Page Golf Classic in the morning. And then you got some committee meetings, registration, and then...
Yeah, what time's registration at? What time is registration?
1 to 6 tomorrow at the Palms registration desks.
Yep. I might be there. I might be there helping out, volunteering. If you see me walking around... don't ignore me.
Ask for directions.
Ask for direction because I am a volunteer. I am an education committee member.
He may not have a clue, but
no, that's not true. Ross is fibbing everyone. I don't
know. Sometimes your sense of direction,
No, not when I'm standing in front of the doors behind me. I can't be like, go right. Like, hey, where are we going? I'm like, you're actually in the right spot.
Listen, if the two of us got dropped off in the woods, I don't know that I'm going to trust your direction over my own. So,
okay. Like he's got a point there. Okay. But I can find my way.
You can.
My wife always says, she goes, everywhere you go, you leave a trail. And I was like, what does that mean? And she's like, because you make your own trail. And I was like, she's like, you'll get there. I'm just not always A to B. I'm like, you ever seen that thing where it's like
A to M?
You ever
to
see
Z
that thing?
to
Yeah, where
C.
it's like how I do business, like A to B. How it's like it's always like how my wife does something, or like there's always like it's like that's me. Like that's me. That's how I do things. But
all right, so let's go back to the schedule on Friday.
Always creative and always fun. How dare you? Fine.
Then we've got we've got the Stars Breakfast, education by invitation only. You got education session 1 with Chef Jeff Project. That's from 8 to 9:30.
Now I think I've seen Chef Jeff speak in California.
Possibly, I'm not. And it's about changing lives through the power of food. And then at 10 a.m. starts the education session 2, Power of Produce, which is always a good one.
With who? Who's it with?
Anne Marie.
I love Anne Marie. She killed me for not pronouncing her name right last time, which was totally fine. So
it happens.
And I thought I did a pretty good job. And shout out to Anne Marie because I'm bringing my Holland jersey this year.
All right.
Because obviously I was in Holland. And so I picked up a Holland jersey and a Berlin jersey. So
all right, let's go back to Friday.
All right, back to Friday. And we're back to Friday, everyone, with Ross, the produce boss. All right, what else you got, buddy?
I got to scroll down.
No.
Come on.
Where we at?
And then you got more committee meetings, the Southern Roots Women's Luncheon, and a lot of meetings, mentor programs, stars, and then the opening reception.
That's Thursday. I'll be there. I'll be there. Wait, Thursday night? Isn't there another?
Retail
I thought there was a dinner. Isn't there like a dinner Thursday night?
Nope.
That's weird. thought I was supposed to do it.
Yep. So the opening gala.
Saturday is 7 p.m. is opening day. Friday night. Oh, that's Friday night. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Then Saturday.
You have the keynote brunch from 9 to 11:15, and then the expo starts at 11:30 to 6.
Oh, so the expo will go till 6 this time.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the closing receptions from 6 and 6:30 to 9:30.
I said like okay, like they're okay. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. You know, one things that I do love about this show as well is
running into people. There's you just run into so many people. It's awesome.
I'm glad. I mean, listen, yes, I guess that ties into what I was going to say. Ross likes to complete my sentences. No, what I was that is one thing, but the volunteering. So one thing I do enjoy is I love giving back. So one thing, like I said, like if you do see me, you know, please, if you have a question you need, I'll find it for you. Like I said, very passionate about the Southeast Produce Council. Ever since my first, I would say my first time ever being there was in 2020 before the shutdown. And I went under the International Pineapple Organization as a trade association that I was working with. And David shared, let us in. I remember walking up to David. It was David and Harold was sitting down. And I just went up to him and said, like, thank you so much, man. Like, you know, I just, I think it was 2020. So I had been back on my own, right? I'd left C.H. Robinson like 2 years prior to that. And so it kind of just was like, it was nice, right? And I didn't know anybody, and it was in Tampa, and I lived in Tampa. And then he let me in, and I kind of like, you know me, bro. Like if you do right by me, I'm going to do right by you. So since then, I started the podcast. I've just been a avid follower, but an avid promoter of SEPC, podcasting there every single year. This year's going to be a little bit different. I'm not having a spot, so I will be around. I'm going to be walking around, doing videos with my camera, things like that.
Yep.
But realistically, it's like, I love helping the people. Like I love seeing the people, the community. And it's just really fun for me to be able to volunteer and give back to, you know, this group that gave to me in a time that I didn't have anything. You know what I mean? So
we got any other good comments we need to highlight?
The only thing is we have some talking about grapes. You know, Greg again still have import grapes late April. Things like that. So I don't have my other view up, so I can't see like the exact whole, like, because some of the posts don't post on here. I'm still getting used to this, right? So even my camera angles, like, look, I keep looking right because that's where my computer is, because we have 3 cameras set up in here. So like I can at some points go back to different camera angles like this, but then I got to go back to different camera angles like this, which we're hoping as we develop more sponsors, because that's what we want, right? We want more sponsors to create dynamite content. When we get more sponsors, we're going to get more equipment. And then I even showed you what we'll be doing when we travel in the future. So we won't have to have the expense of a big booth at a show. And I think you thought I know you think it was a great idea. So
that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I'm super excited. Like I said, Southeast Produce Council Southern Exposure this week is, again, it's one of my favorites. We're a year out. Last year we had Bo Jackson in town. We had a huge yacht party in Tampa Bay. And this year, again, it's not even about that. It's just about being with our people,
being with the family, being with the community.
Yeah. And then Lily's birthday's still on Friday, so I'm probably going to come back home Friday night to see my daughter for her birthday, and
can't miss that.
Yeah, and then arrive 4 a.m. Saturday morning to get back, to education and be back to be
before the Disney traffic gets crazy.
Yeah, I always got to do that. I always have to do that, man. Always.
Yep.
So, one of the things I want to implement here, and maybe I could try it, just because we're on right now. Everyone, I'm going to put in, let's see if we hit this. I don't know if it goes to LinkedIn. It doesn't. So these don't only go to YouTube, but Ross, Ross is going to give you a little update for 30 seconds on his favorite produce item. Well, I put this link in here. Ross, take it away.
Favorite produce item? I mean, how do I just come to one? So
you better come to one right now. Talk about one.
Well, let's talk about, we were talking about apples earlier. So if you haven't checked out, there is a new apple called Bougie out that I tried a few weeks ago. It's out of Michigan. So I do love things from Michigan, being my home state where I grew up.
Great.
So I do support that. But Really what I love changes with the seasons. I love that we have seasonality. So, you got to go with cherries, you go with Michigan blueberries or seasonal blueberries from where you're from, sweet corn. I mean, you got to go with nothing like sweet corn on the grill in the summer. It's all about it. And then, this time of year, you're looking at, more of your root vegetables. And I think an item we talked about last night that doesn't get a whole lot of love is artichokes. So, yeah.
Definitely. Artichokes do not get all the love. All right. So what I did, Ross, was I went ahead and published the
link.
The link. So if someone wants to join, they can actually join. So by calling,
pops in.
By calling in. So this is something that I definitely want to bring to the table for everyone. Is so we can start getting callers in. We can say, hey, we're going to do a produce giveaway today from like Arctic apples or Sumo citrus, something that we can do. And then when the caller comes in, they answer a few questions.
We got caller on line 5 here.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a few minutes. We'll see if someone actually comes in. But let's get a couple key takeaways real quick before, see if we get a guest. A couple key takeaways for you if you are coming to the show. One thing I say every single show, and that is, don't be one of those Debbie Downer, Ken Kniff buyers where you just flip your badge over. We are here because we want to learn from you. We're not just trying to sell you, but it's our job. That's the point of these trade shows. So when you do come to these shows, just be open. Even if it's hey, great to see you, boom, boom. I've done so many meetings where some people just look at you and they're like, I'm busy, man. I don't have time. And you're like, this is the time for me to be in front of you, right? So please, Ross, you're a buyer, right? Things like that. And I see how you act to a lot of people. You shake a lot of people's hands. And I think that please there's so many of us that are growers, packers, shippers, marketers. They're looking to sell people our products we've never seen before. And so just bear with it, right? Bear with it. If you're, you know what I mean? Right? That's what I'm going to say.
Be just part of that elaboration is being open, being in the lobby, being respectful, being available to have a 2 or 5 minute conversation, may not fall in your wheelhouse, as there are a lot of products that don't fall in my wheelhouse these days that, maybe in a future role or a prior role they did. But just being available. I think it's always being respectful of one another and as polite of a way as you can and seeing what's out there. So, it's one of the things I like about the show is just you never know what you're going to see. You can run into all sorts of folks and just come in with an open mind.
Yep, I agree. All right, listen, no one's called in. No one has the daringness enough to call in. If they want to, it is hard to see.
Yeah, but they may not, if they have to download the app and all that.
I don't think so. The link I give you is it's a direct link, but it's okay because listen, we want you to join everyone, but if you can't, it's okay. But this is going to be the future. So
next time.
Yeah, next time. Another key takeaway I can tell you is, listen, if you're an exhibitor, obviously, yes, you want people to try your products, but you also got to realize too that if, again, right, I love the dragon fruit booth, that Freshway would always do, right? The color always complemented the dragon fruit, right? But like I said, then one year he switched and he did a dragon fruit smoothie. Remember, you got to switch it up. That's one thing I'm gonna tell you. Sharon, Sharon switches it up all the time, and you got to get people to come to your booth, not just for your product, but to just be like, man, I like this. You're doing a great job, and then that turns into relationships, right? So if you're an exhibitor, do something different with your product than you did the last show, and don't give the same pitch at the show again, right?
I think there is things that mix it up, but you also see at some of the shows, people will do the same things because there are, when you go to the IFPA show in Atlanta, there's a lot of the same vendors that do the exact same thing each year. And so, yep.
What's that one say?
Networking, yep. That's how you get the most out of it.
He said, say yes, man. I agree. Not say yes to everything, but at least say yes. Thank you for the opportunity. Again, Ross, listen, I'll be real, everyone. Ross is not in logistics. So if you're trying to contact Ross for logistics, it's not going to work, right? Hey, call me for logistics. Call me for logistics. He's got his logistics guys. They work for his companies, right? So, no, I agree. But again, this is the time where you're still going to tell people hello. And then you're going to say, hey, no, that's not my job. Thank you so much. Boom, boom. I appreciate it, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, man. Thanks for coming to the studio. I think it's great having you here. I think it's finally cool that you got to come in the studio.
Yeah, see all the hard work. So
it's paying off. But it's time for us to get on the road.
Time to get up to Orlando.
I think it is time, man. It's time.
Little air guitar, baby. Little air guitar.
Nobody knows it best. Well, actually, Dan does when you get it fresh, right?
Keep growing and let produce lead the way, baby.
Oh, you know it.
Let produce lead the way.
You know it. Everyone, thank you so much for joining the Produce Industry Podcast, fresh from the field, Fridays, right here in Tampa, Florida at Aglife Media Studios. This is the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, and as always, I am excited to be here. And as I say, we'll see you in the fields and on the horizon.